I ask for the truth on behalf of Karla Jean Quehl concerning relationship issues. And ask for guidance and insight in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we cut the tarot for you there, Karla Jean, and as you requested, a tarot reading there. So we'll just place the deck to the side here. I'm going to deal out 3 cards for you. In this particular case, it's a past, present, future outfit there, isn't it? The first card is the recent past. This is what we refer to as the recent past influence. Then the next card is the present influence. And then, of course, the immediate future influence we place next to it there. Just bring it to you there so you can see it there. And then we can just discard the deck there. Now we've done that. We've asked on your behalf, so all these cards, these energies, as you would say, vibrate. I suppose you could call each card an angel, couldn't you? Because each card is a message, or a messenger. So each card is an angel, isn't it? Really, in a way, bringing a message. And because we've asked on your behalf, then each card will be vibrating concerning what we've asked. We've asked in sincerity. We've asked spirit for that. Crow is king in this deck. This is energised by crow's magic, isn't it? So we're going to now pull the first card out here. Remember, the first card is related to the recent past influence. The recent past in this case is a period of time, literally recently. I usually say about a moon phase between now and a moon phase ago, as you could say. Over the past moon phase, the past 28 days, the past month, as you could say. Let's flip this card and just rotate it and see what you've been doing. Because you've asked a question about your relationship, of course, then this will vibrate in accordance with your relationship in the recent past, or your relationship situation, then, as you could say. Here, you notice you've got the 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands. Crowley calls the 7 of Wands the Lord of Valour. 7 is often referred to as weakness. It's connected, not really lucky 7, a lot of people call it that, don't they? But it's really to do with weakness. It's the weakness before the 8, the challenge of the 8. Because it's a minor arcana card. What's a minor arcana card? Well, in the tarot you've got 2 decks, the major arcana and the minor arcana. And this is to do with the minor arcana, the 56 minor arcana. So I always call it the elemental deck, air, fire, water and earth. Of course, the 5th element, or the first element then, is the element of spirit, and that's what the major arcana is related to. But this is a minor arcana energy. Because it's minor arcana, it gives you the power to change things. Major arcana energies don't, they're more permanent. You've still got choices, but you haven't got power to change it. It's more permanent. Whereas this, just recently, you did have power to change things. Notice there, raccoon. Raccoon spirit gives you the resources to see things through. In this case, really, it's been more a case of endurance. Maybe seeking progress in the relationship, trying to get things moving. But it's been more a case of, not tolerance, but certainly putting up with. Getting through it, as you could say. And I suppose this is maybe why Spirit is, or why you've called upon Spirit for guidance, or why Spirit feels it's time for guidance in that sense. We've got to find out, of course we've got to know what's been going on before we can find out what's about to happen. And of course we've got to know what's happening right now. Before we just investigate that further, of course, it's got Sagittarius involved there, hasn't it? That's like a magical sort of unearthly sort of element or energy then, as you would say. And the weakness of the 7, any number between 4 and 9, that's the numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, of course, they're to do with the element of water. So you could really call this the watery part of, while 1's is related to the element of fire, spiritual essence. So you could call it the watery part of fire, couldn't you? In the sense of spirit, and in the sense of mental and moral qualities, which is what water is. Mental and moral qualities of spiritual essence. Maybe you're viewing it from a sort of moral standpoint. Yeah, I've got my standards, I'll see it through regardless of what this is. Basically you're surviving, and the raccoon is there. A raccoon is a 4-legged spirit. And the four-legged ones, as they call them, they walk on the earth, and they're thought to provide protection. And you've been protected in that sense, in the sort of vibration of being protected, just seeing it through, and just allowing you to. I was trying to focus on this here. There's a resistor, although it's the old sort of circuit diagram resistor, isn't it? Now it's more of a rectangle on a line, but it has been for years. But the old version was a sort of zigzag line there. I always tend to think there's been resistance going on there. Although most tarot cards are based upon a triangle above a square, the triangle being spirit and then the square is matter, as if you've got the spirit of the card, you know, the essence of the card, or the essence of the energy of the meaning of that, and then the earthly effect. Although this is not a traditional deck, but nevertheless, if we follow that, you could say you have been resisting something. I do sort of sense this sort of resisting something or other, trying to either tolerate it or resist it, resisting oppression or resisting some maybe it's self-control. But the valor side of it, the bravery and the sort of have a go hero type of scenario, I suppose you could call it now. You're prepared to be a bit of a heroine, as you would say, in that regard. Why that would be, I don't know. But clearly in a relationship, of course, that would be more, as we've established, haven't we? It's been a case of survival, be that surviving the current relationship scenario that you're in, or surviving without a relationship. I don't know what your relationship status is actually. We can only go by what the vibration is. You know the truth. Actually, all this reading, you know, is a con. In the Free Psychic Readings group on Facebook, it should really be called Free Psychic Interpretations, because we only interpret. I'm only really an interpreter. I'm not a reader. You're the reader. You're the one who's reading the cards because you know the truth. I'm giving you the storyline. You know the truth. You're the real reader. And for as much as there's nearly 22,000 readers in the Free Psychic Readings group, and none of them know it. So you bear that fact in mind. That's the Facebook group, of course. But back to this. Let's see what's going on now. We'll just get to this middle card here. This is the present, isn't it? So we're going to pull that one out, and we're just going to pull it out there. We're going to just ring it round there for you to see, and then we'll just flip that card nice and slowly, not to disturb its energy. and we'll just see what that is. Now this is a major arcana card. Remember how we were mentioning about the minor arcana? Well, you've got no choice, or in the sense you've got no power to change it, sorry. You've always got a choice, sorry. You've always got a choice, but you've got no power to change this. The Tower really represents a bit of disruption going on in your life at the moment in this relationship. Downfall, it can really be related to. Originally, the Tower was called War. It's got an Aries feel to it, doesn't it? The controlling sort of feel, as if something is there to control you. In the Crowley deck, it's the Eye of Horus striking the Tower, and then, of course, the garrison fall, and those at the top fall the furthest, don't they? Always remember that one. So even though somebody may be sort of trying to get the upper hand, they will have the lower of the hands. If they fall, they've got further to fall than the one who's got the lower hand, as you would say. But either way, it's war. It's often called war because in the Crowley deck, of course, you have the serpent and the dove. But he's offering like a choice, isn't it, of either war or peace. So that's what the war side of it was originally, because you could choose whether conflict or not, or to make peace. In this particular case, though, notice how, in that sort of sense, the Eye of Horus or some lightning striking there, giving a sort of draconian sort of energy. Things are really, I suppose, cruel in a way, aren't they? It can be. Maybe you feel as if you're being forced into something you don't want to do, maybe forced to split, or even forced to be in a relationship you don't want to be in. You've tolerated it so far, and I sort of get the sense as though you've tolerated it so far, you've survived it so far, and now you're being forced, because of the disruption in the relationship, you're being forced to end it. I've got a sense as though the Tower itself represents the relationship being struck down. Of course, in say the 1JJ deck and all the traditional decks, like the 1JJ deck has like a shrub growing up the corner, whereas like the Tower of Marseille has 3 of them. But either way, they symbolise new growth, even amidst all the calamity that's going on right now in your life, in this relationship. Nevertheless, there's new growth potentially there. The seeds can be germinated, and things can be cleared out, ready. So in a way, maybe it's a downfall, because how can you be in a better relationship next time if you can't get out of this one, if this relationship can't fall? You're stuck, aren't you? But this is, I get a sort of feeling as though this relation is, I wouldn't say doomed to failure or fated, because fate, of course, do you believe in fate or do you believe in destiny? If your destiny is for a decent relationship or a happy relationship, then of course it's a positive thing, isn't it? Your destiny is to put the negative behind you and let them develop spiritually in their own time as you develop in your time out as well. Maybe you're the one who isn't developing spiritually, and you're the one who's a bit behind, but that doesn't make you any less spiritually developed in any way. It just means that we all develop in our own time, and maybe you're just not ready yet. Maybe he's not ready for commitment to that degree. But I do sense as though this isn't about commitment. This is a relationship that's basically kafumph. Unfortunately, I want to just see what the immediate future is here for you now, because this is just around the corner between now and around about the sort of sort of 18th, 19th, 20th of September-ish, isn't it? It's such a word of September-ish, but an ish on the end, and you can sort of say, well, it's sort of. But really, it's a bit of a dark art, isn't it, really, timing and everything in the tarot. It's just one event after another. Notice that you've got the Queen of Swords. We've got a minor arcana card. What does that mean? That means you've got power to change it again between now and this time next month. Once this disruption that you can't control, this forceful, this draconian energy has run its course, you will be in a position once again to control it. Before you were just controlling it to survive it, and keeping maintenance. I suppose you could call that the maintenance card, couldn't you? The Seven of Wands. We could call that the card of maintenance for whatever it is. Just for now, anyway. But the Queen there is a watery energy. She represents the element of water. The numbers between 4 and 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, like the 7 does. And this the Aries energy of the tower there will manifest itself into like a Gemini and sort of Aquarius sort of thing there. Now these swords there, swords, what's that about? Well, swords represents the element of air. The Queen represents water, so you could call her the watery part of air, couldn't you? Really, if you looked at it that way. She's rather a mysterious sort of character in the sense of really keeps a low profile. She tends to keep herself to herself, and maybe that's what it is. You've got power to change things, but keeping a low profile, not so much being timid and shy or anything like that, but certainly being a bit, maybe, I don't know, certainly mysterious to some degree, but nevertheless, yes, within intuition, of course, the watery part, the Queen, using your intuition to communicate. Because swords is to do with communication, isn't it? To do with creative and transmissive powers. And the Queen is mental and moral qualities. Mental and moral qualities of creative and transmissive powers. The sort of communicating, but in an ethical sort of way. But in that sort of sense, nevertheless, you'll be remaining elusive. You'll be sort of hiding away, maybe hiding from the one whom you split from in case of trouble, or to avoid making trouble for yourself, or to avoid maybe him making trouble for himself and both of you, or whatever. It's a case of just keeping out of the way between now and this time next month. And I suppose just letting the dust settle, as you could call it, till it all blows over, and then we can move on to pastures new, either with the old or, of course, with something new. But it's really a time to regroup, isn't it? A time just to regroup in this situation that you're in. If you're not in a relationship, then it's time. But I do sense this is a relationship that's finished. And it's clear, isn't it? You only got to look at that, really. And I'm going by what the cards say, of course. But the cards don't lie. They always tell the truth. And the truth has spoken through these cards.